Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Peachy Teach 777 from the Am I Overreacting subreddit, and it says, am I overreacting? My boyfriend thinks I'm only dating him because he's rich. Throwaway account. I just need some advice. I, female 29, have been dating my boyfriend, male 35, for almost 6 months. We've known each other for about a year and a half. I'm a teacher and make around 50k a year, and he is a lawyer. And while his yearly earnings vary based on which clients and companies he works with, it's always somewhere in the 6 figures. Recently, we attended a family get-together at my parents' house. My parents, male and female 60s, and older brother, male 35, had already met him before this, but also invited some of our extended family and my sister-in-law's family as well. Everything was going fine until my sister, female 32, walked in. We're low contact. We'd be no contact if my parents didn't want to have a relationship with her, and nobody told me she had been invited. When I asked my mum what was up, she said she invited her because she needed some encouragement. I was absolutely fuming, but decided to see how the night went and leave if my sister decided to stir anything up. Thankfully, my sister seemed fine and I didn't see much of her. My boyfriend left early since he was tired and I thought that was that. Boy, was I wrong. A week passed with no messages from him, which is really weird. We text each other every day, just chatting about our days or making plans for dates. Then all of a sudden, he texts me to meet up at a park that he wanted to talk about something important. I had no idea what was up. We meet, he doesn't hug me, also out of the ordinary, and I ask him what's wrong. First thing out of his mouth is, are you dating me just because I'm rich? What the hell? No, I'm not, and I tell him that. He just asks me again, like he doesn't believe me. I ask him where he's getting this from. It's so out of left field. Then he asked me if I've ever said all my problems would be solved if I married rich. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely have joked about that, but in the same way you would say, maybe I should quit my job and move to Iceland and herd sheep for the rest of my life. Anyways, I tell him that and ask him again, where the heck this is coming from. He said my sister told him. Apparently she introduced herself and they chatted for a bit. When he told her he was a lawyer, she said that makes total sense because OP always wanted to marry rich. Looks like she's living the dream. Y'all, I could have screamed. I can't even describe the emotions I was feeling. My sister spent years bullying and abusing me, and she has the absolute audacity to take a joke I said when I was a depressed teenager with health issues out of context and misrepresent me to my boyfriend. Literally insane. I was shaking. I told my boyfriend that what she said was entirely out of context and he can't trust her. He just kept pressing and asking him why she would say something like that so casually if it wasn't the truth. I told him because she's a narcissist who has spent years treating me like a punching bag and never taken accountability. He just couldn't get it, so I left. I told him that if he was going to take the word of one person who he just met over the word of all my friends and family who will vouch for me that I'm not that kind of person, over all the months he spent getting to know me as a person, then this wasn't going to work. The tears were already starting to come down, but I managed to hold it together alright until I got to my car and just sobbed. I feel broken. I'm in love with my boyfriend. He's the first person I have ever felt comfortable being myself with. He truly is such an intelligent and mature person. The way he communicates in our relationship has been truly healing, coming from the family dynamics I grew up with. But the biggest fear I've had with dating is that someone wouldn't trust me. That the person I love and trust the most would question me on who I am when I've already shown them. Which is why the whole situation is so confusing and painful. I don't get it. It's been a few days and I don't know where to go from here. I haven't texted him because I need space and he hasn't texted me either. Am I overreacting? I feel like he should have known better than to just take essentially a stranger's word over mine. Where do we go from here? The edit says, thank you for your comments guys. I've been trying to read them all this morning. The commenter who talked about relationships being a two-way street really stuck in my head. I don't think I've handled this properly. That and the commenter talking about me essentially being the dumper, and that if I don't want this relationship to end, I'm the one who needs to make that clear. All in all, I don't think I handled the situation well. I'm going to text my boyfriend and see if we can actually just hash everything out. I'm not sure where this is going to end up, but I know that neither of us can make a decision about anything if we don't talk about it. We'll see how it goes. Vivid says to the OP, there has to be way more to this. If you're paying for all your own stuff, there's zero reason to believe you're with him for money. Is he paying your bills? Do you ask him for money? Does he spend a lot of money on you? Sounds like he's been taken advantage of before, or he's flying too high in the sky. That kind of comment of marrying rich would make any man making good money feel uncomfortable. If there's no reason to believe that, then it should be no issue. Opie says, he doesn't pay my bills and I definitely don't ask him for money. I was raised with a, we don't have money for stuff like that dad, so I find asking for money hard even if I'm owed it. He definitely is generous with how he spends money on me. Our first date he showed up with flowers and I was stunned because no one ever did that for me before. After I told him, he's bought flowers for every single date consistently. When I told him I was going to wait a few months to take my car into the shop because then I'd have a bit more money saved, it was making a weird squeaking noise. He literally drove me and the car to the shop that day and told me not to worry about it. My safety was more important. Vivid replies saying, then he's confused. He's letting a stupid comment get to his head from an unreliable source with zero context. That's a tough position for you to be in now and even harder in the future. Everything will be under a microscope. Anything he pays for, the marry a rich man comment will pop in his head and make him question if he's being used. There's so many stories of men being used for their money. Your sister planted a poisonous seed. That's fucked up. You shouldn't have to explain yourself. He knows the truth. You don't benefit from him in a way he could feel used. If you explain yourself, it's like you're begging him to understand what he already knows. Give it time and see if he comes to his senses. You need to talk to your sister about this, not to get into your relationships with bullshit comments trying to paint you as some gold digger or in a negative way. OK Scale says, he's not that good at communicating actually because you are correct. He shouldn't have taken a stranger's word over yours, let alone your narcissistic sister's. Did he not know to be wary of her ahead of time? You haven't shared your relationship with him yet. OP says yes and no. I remember us talking about my family one of the first few dates. He's no contact with his family, for various reasons, and I brought up being low contact with my sister. He asked me why, and I remember telling him that she bullied me a lot growing up, and that she had a tendency to make everything about her. I know I didn't go into all the specifics because our relationship was still fresh, and I figured I could go into more serious stuff later, because it's a lot for a new relationship. But I guess the rest just never came up. My sister lives in a different city and I didn't see her at all since my relationship started. So out of sight, out of mind, I guess. I know I should have been more upfront with the info, but it's very hard for me to open up about all of it. And the final comment says, I think just from that alone, you should have known to take what she said with a grain of salt. Now, I think obviously the true villain here is the sister, once again showing toxic behaviors, like the comment said, planting that poisonous seed in there, damaging the relationship. But clearly the boyfriend's got some insecurities of his own. The fact that he immediately left, didn't talk, didn't approach you and say, hey, your sister just said something really weird, what's going on here? But I hope OP's going to follow through with what they said in their edit and that they're just going to have this conversation to see what happens next. The OP came into the post 3 days later and says, hi all, I just wanted to make an update since a lot has happened over the weekend. Hopefully this isn't too long of a read for you. Some commenters helped me realize that simply walking away from the conversation was not the right thing to do. I decided to text my boyfriend on Friday and send him this message. Hey boyfriend, I want to apologize for leaving things the way I did. I was really upset and hurt, so I left before my emotions got worse. Which obviously didn't help the situation. Can we meet up this weekend and talk? I want to see if we can get on the same page and evaluate our relationship. He texted me back almost immediately and agreed to meet up at my place yesterday. I was pretty nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Some people thought that I should just break up with him and others thought that maybe there was something deeper going on that he wasn't telling me. Either way, I wanted to get all the facts. When I opened the door, he was holding a bouquet of flowers and had a look on his face I've never seen before. It was a mixture of sad and concerned, which was kind of overwhelming because he's not really the type to be so expressive or emotional. He gave me the flowers. We sat down and the first words out of his mouth were, "I'm so sorry, OP. I know I fucked up." That apology just really calmed me down because I was so afraid this was going to be a back and forth of us trying to defend ourselves for what happened. He said he was just about to text me to meet up and talk when I texted him. I thanked him for the apology, apologized for my reaction too, and asked him, "How did we get here? Can you just explain everything from the beginning so I can understand?" I was not prepared for what he told me. For some context, my boyfriend was not the person he used to be. He used to be a serial womanizer, workaholic type of guy. I was aware of all this before we started dating. His dad, who is also a lawyer, was his idol. He wanted to be just like him. However, his dad had been married to his mum for many years, so that was where my boyfriend drew a line. He was fine hooking up with women while he was single, but also soon as he got married, that would be the end and he'd be a faithful partner like his dad. Unfortunately for him, things kind of all came crashing down when he found out his mum had been cheating on his dad for years. When my boyfriend told his dad about it, his dad told him to keep it to himself because his dad had also been cheating for years. I think they both knew about each other's affair partners and just decided they cared more about their image and reputation, so they never got a divorce. My boyfriend was flawed. The idealized image of his dad was shattered and he got really depressed. He started drinking and going to bars more often after work, and that was where he met our mutual friend, Matt, fake name. Matt was working as a bartender and got to know him a bit. Matt's a wonderful person, the type who really takes an interest in everyone. Matt helped him get a better handle on his life and they became friends. My boyfriend completely changed his lifestyle. He stopped over drinking, cut his hours down from the 80 to 90-hour work weeks he used to do, and stopped objectifying women just to sleep with them. Matt later moved into my city for work and I was introduced to him because he started dating one of my friends, Becca. My boyfriend and I actually met at Matt and Becca's wedding. Anyways, my boyfriend moved out here a few years ago to get away from his parents after his lifestyle changed to essentially restart his life for good. So that brings us to last week. After I left the park, my boyfriend took what I said to heart, that the word of my family and friends should be enough for him to trust me, and went straight to Matt after to get his thoughts. My boyfriend said Matt was really kind, letting him explain what had happened without interrupting. But then afterwards, Matt really laid into him. Matt asked him, "Do you really think OP would still be living in a crappy one-bedroom apartment if she was dating you just for your money? Has she ever given you any reason to question her before all of this?" My boyfriend admitted that I had never given him any reason to question my motives, that he knows that I'm generous and not materialistic. But my sister's words got into his head. He said it was like listening to a child. "I have no reason to lie to you, so I believed it immediately." I actually don't blame him for that part. Every single person who has met my sister describes her as innocent and bubbly and has a very difficult time seeing her as anything but that. Even my parents still view her like this despite them knowing how many people she's cheated on, how much of their money she's wasted and never given back, how many times she's joked about killing/harming them or myself. I didn't know this next part, but my boyfriend opened up to Matt when they were first getting to know each other about how many women used him for his money. I knew that his last relationship ended badly, but he still lived out east. But apparently this was the first major relationship after his lifestyle change and he really loved her. He bought basically everything for her all of the time and she still cheated on him. All of that led him to become really insecure about people's motives when it came to dating. He explained that even some of the nicest women just lit up and acted completely different when he told them he was a lawyer. They completely killed any desire he had to get to know them better. He told Matt he didn't want to date anyone unless he knew someone who could vouch for them personally. Matt was the one who encouraged him to ask me out because he already noticed we liked each other and told my boyfriend that I was a good person. Back to their recent conversation. Matt suggested that if my boyfriend needed more outside confirmation, he should listen to me and go talk to the people in my life to get a better perspective of what kind of person I am. My boyfriend has actually spent the last week doing exactly that. He went to my parents and told them what had happened. Apparently my mum was horrified. She really likes my boyfriend, so when she found out that inviting my sister had essentially caused a rift in our relationship, my mum got really upset. Her whole aspiration has always been to see all her children married, and since my sister had nothing but failed relationships and I've otherwise been chronically single, knowing she did anything to mess up my relationship was probably pretty upsetting to her. He said that she was crying and very apologetic. He also asked her to give me some space until he had a chance to apologize to me himself, which in hindsight makes a lot of sense, because my mum usually calls and texts me every day and has been missing in action this whole week. All in all, my boyfriend said that my friends and family had nothing but good things to say about me, that I was absolutely not a gold digger, and anyone who even suggests that is just plain wrong. I was crying pretty hard by this point, hearing everything. My boyfriend kept apologizing, saying he'd do anything to earn my trust back. But he also said that if our relationship was going to work, if my sister might pop up again unexpectedly, he needed to know everything. He wanted to be prepared for exactly what kind of person she is, so that kind of thing never happens again. So I told him, not absolutely everything because there's so much to cover, but once I started mentioning things, I just kept going. I'm not going to get into the gritty details on Reddit because my sister might see it, and also a lot of it is really painful. But the long and short of it is she has unrelated mental illnesses that she refuses to get help for. The times we've gotten her specific help, therapy, inpatient, medications, etc., she's been uncooperative or stopped treatment against medical professionals' advisement. And she has a pattern of abusive behavior / love bombing in all of her relationships, both familial and romantic, that she never takes accountability for. This is why I'm low contact with her. By now, you're probably wondering if I'm in therapy. I haven't been for some time because I've been working contracts and didn't have insurance coverage through work, but I will come September. Something my boyfriend both agreed to in this conversation is for both of us to get individual therapy. Him to deal with his unresolved insecurities and trauma around his parents and past relationships, and me because my sister did a number on me, and I've never really opened up about it in therapy. We're also going to set scheduled weekly times where we're not necessarily going to go on dates, but have uninterrupted time to talk openly, especially on any insights we've had in therapy. By this point of the conversation, things were getting a little less heavy, and I joked about how we both have the same trauma reaction of going silent when things get too intense. We both agreed that we didn't handle this well, and in the future, any and all of concerns we have will be communicated properly and immediately. We're not going to run away from each other. If we don't understand something, we're going to ask questions until we do. Since we talked for hours, we ended up just making dinner at my place and talking some more. I'm really hopeful for what comes next. That's a feeling I haven't felt for a while. Again, apologies for the long read. Typing everything out feels like therapy in itself. Lol. Someone says to the OP, no one told the OP that boyfriend came around asking about her. Odd. OP says, after my boyfriend's conversation with Matt and then my parents, he basically had what he needed in his words to reassure himself of my intentions. Just to round things out, he casually reached out to a few more of my friends and my brother with a, hey, just curious, how would you describe OP as a person? And what her values are, text. Only one of my friends kind of questioned him about it, and he told her that he was in his head a bit and needed some outside reminders to reassure him of what he already knew. I'm not surprised none of my friends said anything to me. We usually update each other about stuff in person, so I imagine when I meet up with them, they'll bring it up. Commenter says, your boyfriend is lucky to have a friend like Matt. He's the real MVP of this story. And then says again, I'm sorry, but your boyfriend is still an idiot and your entire family sucks. Your boyfriend was so quick to believe your see you next Tuesday sister after just meeting her. Then in order to make up, he told you to tell him everything about your sister in order to make the relationship work. Hell no. He should have asked when you warned him about your sister in the first place. Your mother should have been giving you that blubbering bullshit apology first. How did she think your sister turned out that way? Another commenter says, they're working it out. This is a good update compared to others on here. Didn't tell her she had to tell him. OP says she told him everything. Needing to know is not the same as saying someone has to tell you, and it's good, OP told him. And in general, there was just a lot of mixed comments below this, saying the fact that, he didn't trust her from the beginning, went to the parents, went to friends, asking about her intentions. Says a lot. Other people saying glad that they was able to have this conversation afterwards. It's good that they're getting into some kind of therapy to work through it together and have a discussion about it after they've had their therapies. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Would you be able to move past that afterwards? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the story. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.